Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Ferguson with Artistic Painting Studio and welcome to Home Talk. So I have got a great project for us today. We're going to take a simple pillow slipcover and turn it into a work of art. So let's get started. So we're ready to get started here. First thing that we're going to do is I picked a stencil design. This is called our Donatella Damask stencil. And I took it outside and I sprayed the back of it with our Stick It spray adhesive. So this is a repositionable spray adhesive. It makes the back of it sticky, but it's not a permanent adhesive, so we can reposition it. Once you use that, I do suggest that you let it sit for a couple of minutes before you put it into position onto your project. And the reason why we want to use an adhesive is because we want to try to get the stencil completely stuck to the surface, because we're going to be using a spray adhesive for our foil glue. And the better this is stuck to the actual surface, then none of that'll spray underneath. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to prevent happening. So I'm just going to try to make sure that we've got the stencil on there really well, and we're pretty well positioned here. I'm going to lose a little bit of the pattern, it looks like. Okay, we're good with that. Let's see, it doesn't look like I'm perfectly straight though, so I'm going to do that again. Okay, whew. I thought I was straight before I was sticking that on there. Okay, so you kind of determine what do you want to lose. Do you want to lose part of the top or part of the bottom? Okay, that looks better. Okay, so let's get this into position. And because there's a zipper on this side, that's why I'm kind of lifting it up and pushing from the bottom, because that's the zipper is keeping me away from pushing it and getting it to stick really good on that side. Okay. And then we're going to use our Deco Foil fusible spray adhesive. This is designed for fabric foils, okay? So you want to shake the can really well. You're going to hear that ball in there, and just make sure that you have it shaken up really good. And then we're just going to spray it on. So it's like spraying a, I don't know, just you're going to spray this in the stencil, okay? And it's going to look white. And you just want to make sure that you're getting it sprayed over all the openings. What's nice is I'm on a slightly off-white slip cover, so I'm going to be able to see this well. It doesn't have to be on here too thick. I'm just trying to make sure I've got all the openings. Let's just double check here. That was kind of fun. Now, it is nice to have a slightly different color background, because that way you can see. Okay, once you believe you have it all sprayed, okay, let's peek. Make sure we can see the full design. This looks really cool already, okay? So this spray, let me turn this way for you guys. Oh my gosh, look how pretty that is going to be, okay? And this is just the spray adhesive so far. So this has to dry for about 10-15 minutes before we can get moving on to our next step. So let's let this dry, and we'll be back and grab our foil and finish this project out, because this is a super, super fun and simple project. Okay, I've allowed the fusible spray adhesive to dry. Okay, so this is dried for at least 10+ minutes. And now I'm going to grab one of our foils. And I have picked, this is our Wild Leopard Spots in gold in the small version. And just to make sure you guys understand, you have to use what are called textile foils to do this. Not all foils will transfer to fabric, okay? So make sure you're using a textile foil. So I've cut a couple of pieces, And I'm just going to lay this over the stencil design, okay? And you always want your pattern or your shiny side facing up. And I'm going to try seeing if we can double up here and just cover the entire thing. I also like to use parchment paper when I'm doing my ironing, okay? So that I'm not directly pressing on the foil. So I've got an iron here. My setting is about not all the way to hot, okay? So I'm a little over maybe 3/4 of the full degree that you can get as hot as you can. And then all we're going to do is iron, okay? So I'm going to keep moving my parchment paper around and make sure that I'm covering. You can go directly onto the foil, but sometimes if you're not sure how hot your iron gets, this just kind of gives you a protective layer so you don't have to worry about scorching or melting the foil itself. One time I used an iron that wasn't mine, and it got a lot hotter than mine usually does. So you want to be careful with that. So I keep my iron moving. You can also use some steam. The foils like the heat and the steam, okay? And once I lift up the parchment paper, we should start to be able to see the stencil design that is actually melting, not only to use the word melting, but connecting, okay? So it is releasing the foil from the back onto the glue. So the glue is sticking to the foil. So you have to take your time and just really take a few minutes, be slow, get your ironing done. Because it does take a few minutes of heating it up. And like I said, I'm using a little bit of steam as well. And then we're just going to go across the whole thing, okay? Now, these foils are what are called a cool release, okay? So they're not only textile foils, but they have to be a cool release. So once we iron this on, I will just double check and make sure that I can tell we've got, that the stencil design has adhered to the complete, to the foil, just by kind of like grabbing the edge and just making sure it feels like it's stuck onto it. And then we have to let this completely dry, or not so dry, we have to let it completely cool off. I'm used to saying everything has to dry, but no, we have to let it completely cool off, which can take a good 30+ minutes. You want them to completely cool off. You do not want to try to force it to cool off. So no go sticking it in the refrigerator or the freezer. That will not help. That will only cause issues and possibly not, you won't get a release. We've had somebody try that before. That's how I know that's not a good idea. But don't put it in the refrigerator. Don't put it in the freezer. Don't try to make it cool off fast. Just allow the foils to cool down. Let's see, I'm at the edge here, okay? So anywhere where you have like a zipper or there's a seam, you kind of have to make sure you're getting on all levels when you're doing your ironing if the design goes over that edge or onto a seam. So that's why I'm working this edge a little bit more, because that's the side the zipper is on. So if by chance, once I'm done ironing and I let this completely cool down and we go to release the foil, if there is a possibility that I missed something or it just didn't adhere really good in one spot, we can always go back with a fresh piece of foil and iron again. Okay, so not all is lost. And when you're doing something this big, you have to make sure that you are getting every part of the pillows, the slip cover underneath, okay? Okay, so you can tell I got a nice hot iron there. I'm just going to do a little bit of peeking underneath and just make sure it looks like we are completely adhered. And, oh, see, I missed that whole area down there. So it is good to peek, okay? Once you think you have it all, just make sure. So I'm going to finish ironing this, and we're going to allow it to cool off for about an hour, and then we're going to show you something that's absolutely fabulous. So we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, now is the absolute fun part, and we get to peel off our foil and reveal how awesome this is. Oh my gosh. These transfer so beautifully, and this is such a great foil. Okay, so I can see right here, I've got a little bit that probably needs to be touched up, but like I said, it's really easy to do that. And then on my edge too, because I said that was going to be a little bit harder because there's that seam there. So all I'm going to do is reuse the area of the foil that is not that has not been removed, okay? And then I'll go back and touch those up, okay? So I'm going to touch those up, and then I'm going to put a pillow in this, take it home, and show you guys how gorgeous this looks on my new couch. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time. I'm excited to share with you my final project here. So there is that gorgeous pillow slipcover that we did with the foils. I hope you have enjoyed this segment with me, and we'll see you next time on Home Talk.